Welcome to another PC build video, and today we're going to build a $600-ish PC build for productivity and gaming. This build is more likely for online teaching and online schooling as well, and some gaming on the side of course. We'll talk about the PC parts selected, build it, and test it afterwards. If you're interested of the outcome, stay tuned and watch the video. Hey, what's up guys, it's Mac here, and we do a lot of tech related videos like this one. If this is your first time, consider subscribing. With that said, let's check out the PC parts. First, let's check out the processor. So we are going to a Ryzen 3 3100 route since it is cheap but still is a powerful processor. Some of you may suggest Ryzen 5 2600, but we already made a build like that before in this channel. And if you want to watch that video, just check out the top right side corner of your screen. Besides, our budget will not fit if we will choose that for our processor. Believe it or not, the local store around my area, Ryzen 5 2600, is much more expensive. So Ryzen 3 3100 is the obvious choice here. And for our motherboard, we chose Gigabyte B450 Aorus M. This one is Ryzen 3000 ready, so we won't be worrying about the BIOS update and all. I know I just mentioned the obvious, but as usual, this one or this information is also for those new in PC building. Unlike if we chose some basic motherboard like the A320s, we will have to worry about the BIOS update. Though we could also ask the local store to do that for us, but to lessen our time and effort, just go for the Gigabyte B450 Aorus M and be done with it. Now for the RAMs, we chose G-Skill's Ripjaws 2x 8GB in 3200 MHz. And yes, no RGB bling this time since we have to pay $20 to $30 more for just the aesthetics, so we decided to just make it simple but powerful. Now for the boot drive, we want to take advantage of the NVMe PCIe Gen 3 x 4 of the motherboard, so we chose Western Digital NVMe 250GB for fast boots in Windows. We didn't add a hard drive this time, but it's an upgrade that we could look up into in the future. Besides, most working, schooling files and documents nowadays are in cloud storage anyway. If ever we will add up a hard drive, it will be a storage for our games only. Now for the graphics card, we want to try the MSI GTX 1050 Ti. I know some of you might say that we should have chosen the RX 570 instead, but here is the reason why I didn't choose that one. First, it is overpriced in the local store by the time we're making this video. The price is almost the same as the GTX 1650 and a little less than the RX 5500 XT. Well, some stores are just taking advantage of the high demand of the GPU. Even if we cry out blood, we cannot do anything about that, so we are stuck in the MSI GTX 1050 Ti. This is still good graphics card for 1080p gaming, and at some title it is good for 1440p, so no complaints to that. And by the way, we already built a Ryzen 3 3100 with RX 570 in this channel. Just check out the card at the top right side corner of your screen if you want to watch that later. Now for powering the system, we chose the Cooler Master Elite 500. It is not modular and does have mustard colored cables, but that doesn't matter since aesthetic is not our priority here. Though we could buy a $25 set of extension cables like this in the future to make it more pleasing in the sight, but for now I guess this will be fine. We want to focus on good airflow, large chassis, and easy to work with kind of case, so we went and get one of these Techware Forge S. We're actually looking for the Forge M, the little brother version of this case, but there are no stock at the moment. The reason that's why we went for the Forge S is because there are 4 included fans and a hub for only $67, and I think that's a good deal. Other than that, I really love the large space of the case and the cable management and the front mesh design. Well, these are all the parts, so I guess it's time to build it. So let's go. Now before we check some performance, let me just inform you that we'll be using a 1440p 144Hz monitor in our testing, and we didn't do any CPU overclocks. We just turned on the XMP so that we could maximize the performance of the RAMs. We won't be doing some intensive tests on this build, but just some basic benchmarks and gaming performance. So here are the scores in our benchmarks. Now let's talk about productivity. Now this will depend on how much workload my client will do in this PC, but I guess this PC will perform very well. By the way, this PC will be used mostly by an online teacher in a school, and in some scheduled time, some students will use it for their online schooling. And of course, during breaks, it will be used for some games, and that is already given. Now let's talk about my build experience. As for the entire building experience, to tell you the truth, it was a breeze and I didn't have any complaints at all. The PC case was easy to work with and the cable managing was not really a problem. The only thing I didn't like was the fans because it is really too loud in its maximum RPM. Though it can be synced with the motherboard PWM and of course the RGB as well, which is greatly appreciated. And yes, the other thing that I don't like is the power supply mustard cables. Not to mention those extra cables that took a lot of space in the shroud. Even the HDD drive caddy was taken. If I have a little more budget, I could have gone with a semi-modular PSU instead. But unfortunately, this is all we can afford for now. Well, at the end, the performance is what matters the most, and I really love how the build performs, whether it be in productivity or gaming. If the pricing of the RX 570 is not abusive like the local shop in my country, I suggest go for that instead of a GTX 1050 Ti because it performs better according to most reviews. Anyway, if you want to build something like this for yourself or for somebody else, I put the parts list in the link in the description below for you to check it out. Using those affiliate links will help this channel do more videos like this one, so consider it as a support for us. So that's it guys, if you found this video interesting and helpful, make sure you give us a thumbs up and share it. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next one.